Namaskar, hello and welcome to our phone-in interactive program webinar. My name is Tanvi Khurana and CIET NCERT in collaboration with CDAC Mumbai brings to you this 5-day online series on virtual labs for learning and teaching. So today is the 5th day. This training was for 5 days and today is the last day. If you haven't registered yourself, then please register it right away. You can watch our earlier sessions where we discussed what are virtual labs, how can you operate them, the website, and how can you learn so many subjects with the help of online labs like physics, chemistry, biology, English, and even mathematics. So this is what we have discussed so far, and our today's session we'll discuss open source software security virtual labs. If you have any questions, please feel free to send it through our email ID, which is training@ciet.nic.in. If you want to give us a call, the number is 8800440559. It's on your screens right now. You're watching us on PM eVidya channel number 6 to channel number 12 and also on our YouTube channel NCERT Official. For raising your queries, you can use the live chat box of our YouTube channel. Write it down, your questions, your queries, and share them with us. We have experts from CDAC Mumbai and they'll be more than happy to answer all your queries. Let me introduce our today's experts from CDAC to all of you. We have the Principal Technical Officer of CDAC Mumbai, Mr. Rakesh T. Welcome, sir. Along with him, we have the Executive Director of CDAC Mumbai, and he is Dr. Shashikumar M. Welcome, sir.
Welcome. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. So I'll request our Principal Technical Officer, who is Mr. Rakesh T, to begin this discussion on open source software security virtual labs. Sir, what is it that we are going to discuss in this particular session?
All right, thank you again. Thanks to all the viewers. Namaste, Vanakkam, Namaskar, and a very warm welcome again on a very beautiful evening of the new year end. And today we will be having a session on security aspects in general. For the last 4 days, we've been looking into the online lab by CDAC and Amrita University, and we had the pedagogical session on the first day. So we will talk in general on the security aspects, what we can cover when we choose an application which we may use it for our day-to-day use, or we may even choose to build an application based on the open source which we may consume from open forums. So a little bit of introduction on that, then security as a user, security as an ideator or a developer. So as a student, as a teacher, you might be involved in developing projects. So once we do this, a little bit on data protection aspects. Of course, we have a new Data Protection Act which is coming up, but existing regulatory requirements do require certain aspects that has to be taken care of. I'll just give a very brief on all these aspects, but I may not be going so detailed. So you may reserve questions, if any, at any point in time, so at the end we will answer it. So to start with, there's one typical question: which way to go? Should I go for a proprietary software for my day in, day out use, or should I pick a free software or software which is available from the open source? Basically, the difference is one which we have to pay. Sometimes we may even have to pay for an open source software. So the questions arise like, then how is that different from both? So depending upon our day-to-day need of our administrative learning, teaching, assessment, or developing a project, we may choose one of them. So like we have text editors, which is a proprietary software from Microsoft predominantly used, or a Libre, which is an open source, which we would be using it. So mostly it is in terms of licensing, how they are sold and how someone who is going to use it will have to pay it, or how they can customize the product to their local needs, you know. So when we buy a proprietary software, it's very unlikely someone may share their source codes with us. So that restricts to have a dependency with the organization or a company which is selling the product to us. Whereas in an open source or a free software, we are free to use it, modify it, and customize to our need, and even allow to redistribute it depending upon the license against which the software was distributed for download. So the source code will be available for us. We can customize it to our requirement, and we have the total freedom and access the source code and customize. That's in short. So one typical question is, which one is secure? A plain answer is both has its own advantage and disadvantage. So seeing the advantage of proprietary, since it's we pay for it, so there is a team who works 24/7 in the company who has to take care of the security aspects. As and when a bug has been found out, they will have to fix it. So that's how the cycle goes in. Whereas in an open source, the code is available. If the team can fix it by themselves, well and good. Otherwise, the community which is supporting the open source model will have to fix the code for us. So in that way, one way or the other, the security requirements for both the software will be same, but how the cycle between identifying a problem or security bug in the application and how it is getting fixed is what differs, if I have to put it in a very short way. So, and there will be a support by the proprietary software for a longer period, whereas in free software, it's as long as the community access to be supporting it for released. So there is always a say two heads are better than one. That's what happens in open source community. A lot of people come together, develop a product, support all its features, whereas in a proprietary, it will be a closed group who will be simulating the same, but which will not be known to the external world. But that doesn't really guarantee an edge between both. So there is some sort of weight we will have to do before we procure such softwares for one reason or the other. Like we see in the last 4 days, different subjects were taught through a virtual lab. One of that is the OLabs, which we had CDAC's own in collaboration with Amrita. So as a pedagogy development for a syllabus to be designed, one of those concepts is the Dale's cone. Now, in the last 2 years, we do see a peak, very huge amount of disconnect because of the situation we have globally. And the education technology is going for a revolution all over the world. And this is trying to emulate the Dale's cone, what we see it here, what we read, we are supposed to read, I mean, it's likely we retain the 10% of that versus 90% of what they do. And we are trying to simulate in an environment through a labs kind of an facilitated ecosystem where students and teachers can access these portals or even download those simulators to their desktop machines and use it at their convenience. So all these try to help to build our cognitive, emotional, and kinesthetic intelligence in short. So in one way or the other, there is a surge in such access. Going forward, the years to come until 2025, we are anticipated to see a huge rush in educational technology going to be developed, bringing in artificial intelligence, machine learning, and big data analytics to give an improved accessibility to such a platform. So what we would see is if we have to segment the products of educational softwares, it could be used for administrative requirements, tracking attendance, class scheduling, information system, faculty management. So on the other side, we use online platform for teaching. Quite a lot of video conferencing software has been used by teachers in the rush of the requirement to translate the in-physical classroom experience virtually with its own advantage and disadvantage. And there was a psychological shift also when we started adopting all this for teaching. So already we have Swayam, Diksha, and NPTEL kind of a platform where the teachers are able to teach students online whiteboards. On the other side, we do have a lot of lined up web application portals where learning management system has been developed, knowledge bases and reference has been done. Like we have Wikaspedia, PCI, Information Security, Education and Awareness websites, and United Nations on education portal where all the resources have been made available on. And of course, our own NCRT has their textbooks, which all of them are a platform where educational resources, one way or the other, where you can read, listen to the audios, or even you can interact with the group, peers, etc. has been enabled there. So now we need to experience the learning. That's where the disconnectors, that's where we are trying to bridge through virtual labs like we saw the OLabs in the last 4 days. And of course, the concept of remote lab, the infrastructure will be established in some setup in some over the cloud or by an organization who's going to provide you with that. So we may have to connect to them and exercise these exercises. So as a students or even someone who is going to get a job, so these are the line of assessment applications also we might come across: NTA, JEE, NEET exams, and CBSE's own CCE. And during our sessions, we may even have summative assessments and formative assessments. So one of the key aspects what we notice is, now when we bring in all those technology solutions to one platform, so there is a little bit of analysis which is also happening. And that is where we need to be so specific of capturing the data, which is the endpoint that all matters. The data in the form of teaching content, which has been reached to the students, and the students who conceive this material in terms of reading, images, videos, all those applications, how they should be building their knowledge or skill or awareness. So students are exhibiting certain pattern in the way, basically it's a behavioral pattern, and they are converted as data points. And these data points could be used for progress analysis for better design. And let's understand what are the pros and cons when we use such platforms, and how should we be prepared to tackle the challenges. And the most important is, being in the school, it may so happen the students may be given a small piece of project for the administrative requirement of the college or the school, where they can develop a product. Our students, I was running through the syllabus nowadays, at the end of the 12th curriculum, they are supposed to exhibit their learning capabilities, whatever they learn through a project development. The students will have to ideate and will have to conceive as a product or a solution whatever they have learned in the computer science syllabus. So this is where we need to ensure security as a user and security when we build an application or a software, in short. So these days we do have hackathon, something like Smart India Hackathon by the Government of India, where students are encouraged to participate. Even in these forums, these becomes one of those criteria of assessment, building a software and how secure they have to be. When we do it, so we go for the existing platform as an open source contents. So we just try to receive those, process and retain the lessons we learn from those solutions. We try to add features on top of that, or it could be an idea which you would like to build as an application. When you do it, we need to think of the security aspects as well. And that's what we would be slightly touching upon. So one simple question is, why security is so important? So in an organization where we work, when we deal with a citizen-based application or a governance which aids another government department, or let's say a passport application where anyone could go and enroll their passport application to get a passport. So all of them are supposed to remain secure. If some sort of a data breach happens, it is a whole privacy data of a customer or a citizen who is going to be out in the market. So it has its own repercussions. So because of that, it could be a breach of compliance. So IT Act do have its own safeguard requirements where certain practices has to be in place when we do it. So it should start from the school when the students are engaged when they do the project, for a hackathon or for a school requirement, or could be the final year project in their 12th. So when the data is breached, it could have a ripple effect on the reputation of the organization who's holding the data. And at the end of the day, the user confidence, who is accessing the website or the application, it could be a smartphone application, it could be one which is hosted in the cloud, or what we access through a web portal. So users will lose confidence, and obviously it could be a loss of business. So therefore, it's very important. We need to understand what piece of information which we deal with, and how they are handled and processed, and how the application is developed right from the beginning, and what are the security aspects that has to be taken care when they develop these applications, so that we can minimize the probability of such risk. So before we get into little more on that, I would like to introduce a very simple concept. How do we judge information based on security? since it's a school, let me use this example as an examination paper. Before examination paper, you can take any information which you think as a viewer that comes to your mind. All you have to ask is 3 simple questions. One is, the piece of information which I retain or process or transfer to someone is supposed to be confidential or not. That's what we see here as C. So if a piece of information that needs to be maintained confidential, yes, security really matters. The second question is, does the piece of information need to remain, integrity has to be maintained for that. The examination paper, the one which was set before the examination, has been changed when it reached the students. It really matters. So when we store it in the database and someone made a change to it, and that reached the students before the exam, I mean, at the time of the examination, integrity really matters. And the third is availability. At the time of the examination, let's say it's 4 o'clock, we have the exam and the question paper is not available to them. So the question paper is supposed to be available, but it's not available, then it's a matter of security concern. So likewise, you may take any piece of information at your convenience which you use in your day-to-day work. So you just ask these 3 questions. If they qualify to be yes, then you can quantify them to be an asset. That really matters to an organization or an individual. So there is a little bit of conceptual note here. So that what we see is, you might have seen threats, malware, virus, hackers, attackers. These are the terms that we might have really heard in our books and in various sessions. And we are trying to safeguard this piece of information, what the data asset, from the threat and the threat agents. So we need to see the different aspects. A threat agent, something like a script kiddie. So I was a script kiddie when I was in my school and my college, which technically means I hardly had an idea of the impact of using any sort of a software that could really harm my information system or piece of information. So with no knowledge of the software that can really make an impact, then that becomes a threat agent. An internal employee, an administrator in the school, which means an IT administrator who's controlling the systems in a school, who has the access to the database of the children's and parents and the faculty. What if they could manipulate with it? What if someone can replace a question paper from the information system? So internal employees could be. So competitors, so contractors. So in this period, we could have contracted our education platform with different companies, which means our information system is with different companies. So on all these aspects, there could be some sort of threats. It could be internal or external. It could be intentionally someone doing it or unintentionally someone doing it. It could be natural or environmental. What we are going through is an unforeseen environmental or man-made situation. What we are seeing, and that's causing the trouble for our continued operation of the schools, and we have overcome through that. Human threats, system failures, these all could be the threats that could really hamper the information system, which we call it as an asset over here. So these threats can't really materialize unless there is a vulnerability. It's like, let me say, my health. If I'm not vulnerable to cold, which is not the case, but I can stay immune, then I don't really have to worry about certain influenza affecting me. So unless I have a weakness in my body, I don't have to worry about certain diseases that might impact me. Similarly, if there is no vulnerability in the system, there is no way a threat can really cause a disruption, you know. And this action is what is going to cause a risk. And the risk can be loss of reputation, like I said, financial loss, environmental damage if your system is connected to some sort of a dam or some sort of electrical units, some sort of energy industry. So that is how the risk can really happen, and even loss of children's privacy data that could be compromised. So this is the conceptual idea of safeguarding an asset. So you might have seen a lot of session through NCRT on how do we secure desktops, how do we secure online access to those portals using mobile applications, and that's what we say safeguard. Those things can be controlled. So all put together is what we need to think about securing an application. We need to identify the vulnerabilities in software. So when you access a open source software, we need to address those things the moment we start using it or we start developing it further. So unless we know these aspects, we may not be in a position to address those vulnerabilities or threats. So depending upon the software, as a software like Office, which you use for your data calculation using your spreadsheet or a text editor, it may have a different than a software which is hosted in a portal. So both of them will have. Similarly, email will have an attachment which could have a malware in place, right? So in that way, we will have to balance. So this causes a risk. So in total, I'll just give you a very small snippet here. So there will be a vulnerability, and it might have a lot of malwares which will be found out by the users, and an attack happens and incidents will be quantified, and accordingly the patches has to be done. In many of the sessions, people would say patch your operating system. That is the reason why it is very important to patch your operating system or install an antivirus, because the moment there is an exploit, which is a malware which has been found, antivirus companies will be releasing a signature that can be used to control accessing your system. So this is how in overall it really works. So let me get into how does it really affect when you are accessing a virtual lab. So what kind of security aspects you need to take care when you access here? Very often these are open forums which may or may not have security controls in place. You will have to think about you as a user, as well as an ideator, as well as an experimenter, or even as a developer. So when you do it, always access the lab website or a URL directly. Please don't click on them as you get an SMS or from a news group or from the chat forums or from your instant messengers. So what if it's not the actual site which you really think it is? You might have been clicking on olabs.edu.in. What if it has been a malware hosting website? Instead of O, it could be 0labs.edu.in. So olabs.edu.in is different from 0labs.edu.in. So visually we may think both are same. It is not. So always save your authentic websites and type your website and access those websites without directly clicking on any of those links. And because in virtual labs, you might be interacting with teachers, content developers, peer students, all of them. So it has to be a practice of sanity. And whenever you do it, so we could be using certain lab environment as educators. Please make sure we don't collect information which is not relevant or unnecessary. Let's say I collect biometric details of students, not at all necessary. We might be using a facial recognition for their attendance. So we need to, if at all it is, we need to have security practices in place. If it is not necessary and if you are not using it, please refrain from collecting privacy information through exercises which we do. We might be asking certain information: what is your address, what is your father, what is your vocation. So these all could aggregate towards a privacy data of a kid or a student who's enrolled or even a faculty who's delivering the lecture. Also, never ever use real-time data when you access this virtual lab. You can always give, unless the virtual lab has some sort of a certification scheme, you register, you practice, then you are issued a certificate. If it is free, please don't use real data. Instead, you can just give synonymical data to restrain revealing your identity from these labs so that your privacy can be maintained. So of course, there is a downside. We need some behavioral data so that your user experience can be developed. But identity is not really required. Only the demographic data is required for such user experience development, even for the organization who is delivering those kind of solutions. Like I said, don't click any unknown chat for links from the discussion forums in our labs. So very importantly, many of the solutions are provided through desktops, websites, and mobile applications as well. Please be so sure these applications may not really require something like a geolocation tracking. So why is it important for a virtual laboratory to? It might be useful for them to give content delivery in Hindi, Tamil, English, Malayalam, or so, Urdu, in whatever language of choice, depending on the location they are in, but it may not be necessary always. So you will have to go disable unnecessary sensors of your mobile applications while using these laboratory on your mobile phones or tablets. So that is something you need to be so focused on. And very importantly, always download and install the lab software from authentic sources. If you want to download the authentic source of the OLabs, download from olabs.edu.in, not from anywhere else. Not even when your friend shares it on your pen drive. So a peer faculty member could be sharing it on a pen drive. So please avoid doing it. Always go to the authentic source from the authentic websites and download them, access them, and maintain those sanity practices when you access those labs. So it's not just as a user or experimenter, it changes. So we are moving from a user of such online platform to user. I'm downloading an application or a software from an open source portal, and now I'm trying to re-customize it for my own requirement. Let's say a school is trying to deploy their own virtual environment, customizing their own content. So whenever you do it, use as a user or an experimenter, please make sure you don't collect irrelevant or unnecessary privacy information of the students who is enrolled, or even the faculty who is working, or the parents who are. Collect only the necessary information which you deem necessary to offer the whatever government regulations really demand, or as per the school's need, the service what you are offering. So that should be the only required information. So whenever you collect part of your survey, you could be doing some sort of a survey using any open source applications, or even you could be doing some sort of a study. Make sure they are secured. How do we secure it? I will just explain in a couple of slides after this. And also, whenever you infer data from the collected data, and you should only use the demographic data, not a precise individual's privacy identity data. Please do not use any data which you collected from the study in real-time experiments of these open source softwares. It could be hosted in some cloud, or even if it is in your laboratory in a place.
Okay.
So whenever you
just a gentle reminder, a couple of more minutes, and then we'll talk to the executive director.
Yeah, sure, I'll do that. Okay. So I'll just keep it simple. Whenever you do it, make sure you license it, and this is the most important part. Let's say as a application developer, you will have to secure your source code, what you develop in your school, or whenever the students do it as a project or hackathon. So some of the open source licensing mechanism is like, if it is for free, if you want to publish, still you can use a common creative licenses, or if you want to put it across as open source and still you want to secure, then it should be as GNU GPL licenses, which we call based on the Free Software Foundation who has. And this is a copy left license, which technically means if you're going for a GPL license, something like that. So what they typically say is, you will have to, I've just shown you the portal where you can get those licenses when you want to apply those licenses for the software which you have custom made for your school's requirement, or the student who is developing those, and publish it. So which means you will have to retain the same legal mandates as the original developer of the open source software is. If you want to give some sort of a free hand, you may go for open source initiative, which gives a free hand. Let's say you can develop a software and you can still sell it. When you sell it, only condition they have is you should allow your buyer also to sell it further. I mean, these are some sort of a restriction they have it, but what I would always appreciate is, even if you're releasing a software for free, open source it, appropriately license it. There are mechanisms, the process is available here. You may choose any one of them, but the process is available here to license your software, secure your software appropriately. Or it so may happen you may release your content developed, images, text, teaching, lessons as open education resources. Even when you want to really do that, you may use a common creative licenses. What it typically says is, when you own it, you may say that please give credit to the content if you are freely sharing it. sometimes it may be like credit has to be given, but you must adapt and share under the same terms, whatever you are dictating them to follow it. Or sometimes you may say you can use it for free only for non-commercial purpose. So there are depending upon your precise way you want to restrict, you can freely make the license available and still you can publish your work. And very importantly, when you build your application, fundamentally please take care of authentication requirements of your application, which technically means a student who is accessing the portal should not access the detail of another student. That is a authorization and access control that should be in place. And similarly, parents, similarly for the teachers. So a system administrator who is accessing the software should not have access to all this information. So when you contract to an external agency, please ensure you have these terms in your contractual agreement with the organization who is offering this software. Even if it is hosted in your place, please do not access the data of that. These things has to be done so that the data is protected, even if it is stored in the data center of the organization who is providing the software or you are hosting it. And obviously, since we are running short of the time, these are the 3 links which you can use for securely developing. I really wanted to talk a lot of things in this, which I wanted to keep it so broad, but I'm just cutting it short. But I would like to quickly jump into 2 slides. I will take 2 minutes, which is very important, I feel. When you develop all these contents, please use these 12-factor principle of your application. Or there are materials which are available where you can access this website and securely develop your application. Students should know how to securely develop their application and host it. That is the very important thing. And if you need to know how to securely code, you can come to this portal, Carnegie Mellon University site, and you can click any one of them. And let's say if you want to code in C, they have rules how securely you have to do it. And these are the very important aspects when you really develop your application for school projects or for hackathon. So as we are moving forward, the education software is getting so intrusive. It's collecting a lot of information like browsing history, search terms, location data, contact list, your behavior. All of this information has been populated for building custom design and products and services. At the same time, it's also cutting short the students' self-centered psychological impact as well as limiting their creativity. So when the students do it, there should be balance between the privacy and the convenience aspects. Enriching the privacy aspects is what I'm trying to convey. So user experience should not compromise privacy as well as it should not influence the behavior of the students. So keep this in mind when you procure a software. Please do keep this in mind when you design a software as a project. And most importantly, I'll take a minute highlighting this. Any software which has been procured in your organization has to comply with existing law, which is the Section 47 of our data protection law, which is IT Act 2000, which specifically say we need to implement cybersecurity practices in that even if you develop within your school, use within your school, and the product which has been developed and moved beyond the school premises. So by this, I would like to conclude and thanks for this opportunity and very happy New Year to all and safe New Year and happy and healthy times ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for giving us your time, and this explanation was wonderful. Obviously, no one wants to lose their data, no one wants anyone to hack their accounts, and this is very important topic which we just discussed. Thank you so much. Now I would request Dr. Shashikumar M to say something about this entire online training, his experience, and what all you have for our viewers, sir.
Okay, very good afternoon. I think it has been a great 5-day journey that you have.
Dr. Shashikumar, can you hear me? Sir? So, Dr. Shashikumar M is the Executive Director from CDAC Mumbai, and he'll be sharing his experience regarding this entire online training. It was a 5-day training on virtual labs for teaching and learning. If you have not seen the sessions, earlier sessions on how to learn physics, chemistry, bio, even English and maths, then you can watch it on our NCERT official YouTube channel, and they are always there. They are going to be there. They have been uploaded. So you can watch those sessions and learn and raise your queries if you still have any. And yes, in the meanwhile, you can also register yourself and be here, participate in this program and raise your questions. Dr. Shashikumar,
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Now you are.
Okay. I think I got momentarily some network issue there. Yes. Yes. Happy to see Dr. Vera also joining us.
Yes, sir.
So over the last 5 days, we have looked at various aspects of the OLABS system. We started with a very general overview of what virtual labs mean, what are the different affordances of it, and it's the structure of OLABs, so how it fits into your requirement, the pros and cons and all that, and various use cases. And over the next 3 days, we looked at specifically the different subjects and the labs corresponding to that, physics, chemistry, biology, mathematics and English, walking through some specific examples. And so I hope that would have given you a good feel of what this is all about and what are the things that you can use, what are the different ways in which you can make use of this. So I think that was the idea of going through this workshop over a 5-day period. And today we also looked at a very important aspect of online life. And I think particularly with the pandemic, most of us are going for an online life, whether we like it or not. From whether it is work or fun or shopping or healthcare, the life is actually becoming online. So a lot of issues are obviously there to taken care of, and that's what I think Rakesh has been trying to educate you or make you aware. So and today with the COVID hopefully more or less behind us, we have also been aware now of the immunity building and the precautions. I think everybody around is telling you wear mask, sanitize your hands and do all these things. And that's exactly what Rakesh is also trying to tell you. If you don't want some COVID virus to attack you, you make yourself strong, you take precautions so that, viruses don't come anywhere near you. So Rakesh is saying, build your immunity, make sure that you don't use, random software, you take precautions when you're downloading something, make sure your connections are secure. So all that will also save you from the COVID of cyber fraud as well. So I'm confident that this journey will be worthwhile for you and a good New Year gift for you when you face the students the next year in your class and how to use these resources and make your classes more effective. And hopefully we all pray that next year will be a real classroom offline when your students are around you. But yes, there is still a little bit more distance, I guess, we have to go through. And I also want to add that, our new project, OLABS NG, has already started. And as the year progresses, you should see a whole lot more labs getting added on various subjects and also other classes. So please spread the word around to other classes and other subject teachers. We do want to keep you, a good collection of resources in this repository over this next 2 years. And the Ministry of Education is also taking a lot of steps to make sure this kind of quality content is made available to you, in plenty, that you can actually make the teaching learning process fun. So we are keen to support the learner and the teacher in becoming more effective through effective use of technology. So I re-emphasize what I said in the first session. We are not talking about replacing the physical labs. We are not talking about replacing the physical teachers. If at all, they are becoming all the more valuable. What we are talking about is amplifying them. If you spend 10 minutes in the lab, I will create an effect of spending 100 minutes. If you spend 10 minutes with your teacher, or the teacher spends 10 minutes with you, I'll make it like 100 minutes that she is able to spend or he is able to spend with you. That is the purpose of technology, and that is how we are actually going about with it. So as always, we value your suggestions as well as support in this journey, because we are doing it for you, and whatever by the way feedback you have to make it better is always welcome. So with that note, I think I'll just close this remark, and maybe if you have some time, we can take some questions, or otherwise I'll leave it to NCRT to take it further. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for explaining the entire training in a nutshell. Thank you so much once again. And now we also have the Joint Director of NCRT, Dr. Amrendra P. Behera with us. Sir, I would like you to say a few words to our viewers regarding this online training.
You're on mute.
Dr. Behera, can you hear me?
You're on mute, Dr. Behera.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Very good afternoon and namaskar to all of you. First of all, I thank Dr. Shashikumar ji and his whole team, including Rakesh ji, who had also taken this session for joining together with NCRT, Ministry of Education, and it is indirectly Ministry of Electronics and IT, CDAC and NCRT under Ministry of Education, taking forward the policy implementation, especially the NEP 2020 implementation, one step ahead by bringing virtual labs concept to whole schools across the country, because there are 15 lakh schools across the country, nearly 85 lakh teachers in the country. So I hope these 5 days training on virtual labs will be instrumental for the teachers to understand the virtual lab and use these virtual labs in the daily teaching learning process and evaluation process as well. And the policy, since in two dedicated chapters, chapter number 23 and 24, it talks about use and integration of technology, especially digital education, digital learning. So in that case, this is going to be a milestone to start with, and in collaboration with CDAC, we are also embedding all the lab activities on Diksha platform very soon. The activity has already been started, and this year also with the approval and direction from the Honorable Minister of Education, Sri Dharmendra Pradhan ji, and Madam Anita Karwal ji, Secretary School Education and Literacy, Ministry of Education. So we have started the project for developing some more virtual labs in collaboration with CDAC and Amrita University. So I hope this will help all of us, and including the teachers and students, to use these resources in a meaningful manner. And one more thing I would like to mention, that when we started, we thought there will be no takers, but we could get 46,000 registrations for this course. And there are several more thousand particularly users, particularly who were viewing us on YouTube, apart from the 12 DTH TV channels where it was telecast. Even this telecast was also simultaneously made available on Reliance Jio app, so that students, teachers across India from any nook and corner, through television and through internet connectivity, TV app, so they could access all these videos. Even we have created one page for webinar sessions on ICT-Tools, and all the webinar sessions till now, nearly 500 sessions of 1 hour we had already. So that will help the teachers. That page, the videos are also uploaded. And from tonight onwards, we are going to open the quiz. So that quiz will help all the teachers who are watching us, listening us, to undertake the quiz. You have to score 70% mark to get a certificate. So be careful while answering the quizzes, and read or watch the sessions carefully. All the 5 sessions, 5 hours videos are available. If required, watch it again and again. Don't guess any question, otherwise you will be failed. So you won't get any certificate. So we wish that all of us will re-look into the videos, understand the concept, and get 70% mark and get a certificate issued by CDAC Mumbai, and NCERT. So with these words, once again I thank SIDAC Mumbai academic and technical team for the session and demonstration on virtual lab activities. And we hope with our joint collaboration this year we will be going a couple of miles ahead and bring nearly 1000 virtual labs for the country children and teachers in the coming year. So with these words, once again I thank all of you, and thank to Dr. Angel who is coordinating this activity, and over to the anchor now. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for taking out your precious time and giving it to our viewers, and letting our viewers know that how they can actually participate in this entire quiz and get the certificate. Thank you so much, sir, and a very happy new year to the entire team of SIDAC Mumbai, and thank you once again for joining us and for this entire collaboration. Thank you so much.
It is 66,000 YouTube views.
Yes.
So I got the data from the team. So 66,000 YouTube views of these 5 days program.
So for all those viewers, yes sir, you were saying something.
I think it's been fantastic to see that kind of reception to these lectures. So we're very happy.
Absolutely. So the entire credit goes to you and your team, sir, for this collaboration and for this great response. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you to all the viewers, and we are still getting the question that how they can register themselves and participate. So let me show you the process that how you can show. All you have to do is type CIET in your Google bar, and let me show you how you can do it. So just type CIET and then come to the home page of CIET. Here it is. If you can see, that's the home page, Central Institute of Educational Technology. These are the options you will see. Come to the events option. The last option would be training/workshop. So once you click on this, another page will open. Scroll it down. You can see the current activity on your right hand side. Click on this link.
We cannot see
online.
the screen you are showing. Then we can. You cut to the screen, maybe the technical team can cut to the screen. We cannot see. Yeah, because the demonstration should be seen to all of them.
I think usually on the YouTube channel you can see it, but you may not be able to see it here. I noticed it last time because I was also.
Okay.
Yes, sir. It's visible to our viewers.
Yeah, so this group is a protected group. You don't get to see. Yes.
So,
I saw it in the first time, so that's why I was also very surprised because you are typing something, I don't know where it is going. But when I watched the video, I saw that, the views coming there.
Absolutely. So let me just go ahead quickly with the process and inform our viewers how to register themselves. So this is the current activity, online training on virtual labs for teaching and learning. Click on this link, and here it is. This is everything about the online training on virtual labs for teaching and learning. The explanation is there, the day-wise explanation, objectives, who can participate, how to participate. This is the link, registration link. Just click on it and you can register yourself. This is the QR code. Just scan it and get yourself registered. Watch the entire training. All the episodes are here on our YouTube channel, NCERT Official. The link is mentioned. The channel numbers are mentioned here, and participants in post-session activity and certificate. So here at 10 o'clock tonight, the link will be uploaded, and for all the valid responses to the given questionnaire, you will be given the certificate within 15 days. So this post-session activity will stay active till 10th of January 2022. I'll repeat, it will stay active till 10th of January 2022. For any feedback, this is the link available here. You can click here and give us your feedback. And for rest of the queries, this is the email ID training.helpdesk@ciet.nic.in. To all the users who have already registered, you'll also get this post-session link on your email IDs, and if in case you are not able to see it in your inboxes, please check your spams as well. They also get it in the spam. So both the options please check, and rest, if you don't see it in your mails, this option is definitely available. So CIET page is always there, and it'll be there till 10th of January. So this is all about this entire online training on virtual labs for teaching and learning, and we're wrapping up this 5-day training. I hope you have enjoyed. For all the feedback, you can always share your feedback with us through our NCERT official YouTube channel. So we are wrapping up here, but it's not the wrap up for the day. One more live session, a special session Sayog, is still left. And we're coming back in a few minutes, and we'll be talking about the topic motivation for self-learning. So stay with us, keep on watching PM eVidya channels. Namaskar.
Thank you. Namaskar.